How do you prep for a fast? What do you do the day before you start fasting? These questions are my most frequently asked questions when it comes to getting ready for a fast. So I'm here to answer those questions really quickly, really briefly, and to just be real with you guys. I am not giving you tips that are unrealistic. I'm not going to give you anything that I don't do myself. I'm going to give you the most honest thing that I do sometimes, not always, when I'm getting ready for my fast. A lot of the time when I start out, I will try to be my A+ fasting self. And that means when I'm prepping, I'm not having as much sugar, not having as much caffeine, cutting down on all these things prior to my fast. I'm hydrating even before I start my fast, especially if it's a dry fast. When I want to be an A+ faster, that is what I'm doing. But 99% of the rest of the time, it's not always that simple. And sometimes I don't really care that much, because when you're getting ready to do these really long fasts, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4-week fasts, you absolutely could get yourself into ketosis. And sometimes I do, especially if I'm doing a shorter fast. If I'm only going to do a 5-day fast, or if I'm doing fractional fasting, I want to get as quickly back into ketosis as I can if I'm having refeeds in between. And so that's pretty standard. So when I'm prepping for a fast, a lot of the time I'll switch to keto, no sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol, etc. That's if I'm being A+. Now, here is what I actually do a lot of the time when I'm prepping for these 30 days. And this is not going to look like prep to you, because in a way it isn't. A lot of the time what I do is I have a motivation day. Especially if I'm having troubles getting started, I say to myself, okay, what is going to motivate me to get started? So the first thing I do is I have a really good day of eating whatever I want. A lot of the time this looks like me going to a cafe, because I can do two things. I can eat whatever I want and have a good day and feel satisfied, and two, I can be productive there because I can bring my laptop and I can kind of just debrief. I have a good plan for my fast. My biggest recommendation is have that last day, take that last day and just do whatever you want to do. We can sit here all day and say, oh, don't eat whatever. If you want to have a Big Mac the day before, you want to have ice cream the day before your fast, it's going to spike your insulin right before you start fasting. Yeah, sure, that's not great, but you're about to go on like a 3-week fast. So who cares? We're human beings, and sometimes you just gotta let that happen. So go to a cafe, sit down, get whatever you want, get outside, get in the sunshine, be in the outdoors if you can, and have just a really good last day. I do this, like I said, at a cafe. I will go get some coffee, a sandwich, whatever, and then I will sit down at my laptop or a notebook and I will say, okay, what are the obstacles I'm going to run into? What am I looking for in this fast? What are my goals? What's my main motivators here? Do I have all of my stuff prepped? What are my rewards? And I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting ready for a trip. I'm going to get really excited to go on this trip in a couple months when I'm done my fast. And not only am I going to look great, I'm going to feel great. And it's also a reward for myself, anything like that. I wrote down fitting in my old jeans. I'm literally sitting down and making a checklist to make sure that I am properly prepped and ready. You have these clear motivators set out for yourself, even just beyond the actual benefits that you're going to outline as well, which is going to be, your health benefits, physical, mental, spiritual, whatever that you're looking for with this fast. You're going to have that outlined too, to say, I'm really looking forward to being more fit and being more stable overall. With that, we're going to outline potential obstacles, social events that you might run into that might hold you back. It's also really good to have a list of things you can still do while you're fasting. So I wrote a list of, I can still go to karaoke with my friends and I just don't have to eat or drink, and I can get the plan that comes with the water and whatever. Or if I'm dirty fasting, then I'll have diet sodas. Going to a baseball game, going for walks in the park, going to shrines, being in nature. I'm outlining things that I like to call psychological glimmers, because these are very important while you're fasting to keep you motivated during the fast, but also to just have a general level of enjoyment while you're fasting, because that's going to make it infinitely easier overall for you to maintain and go all the way through. Is if you don't feel like you are missing out. We don't want to experience FOMO. And since eating out and eating with friends and family is such a social experience, we don't want to miss out on that stuff just because we're not eating and because we're maintaining our fasting goals. I like having a list of things to remind myself I can do these things, especially in the moment somebody wants to hang out with me and I say, oh, well, I'm fasting, so I can't really go hang out at a cafe or stuff like that because I feel weird not buying anything. So instead I'll say, how about we go to karaoke, we can hang out, we can talk, and we can also sing, and I can just have my fluids and everything's great. My day before fasting looked exactly like this. I said, I really want to have a good last day of eating. When you go to a restaurant and you pay a lot of money for food and it ends up being bad, you're like, no, I can't end on that. I can't end on that. Come on. That's what I did. Specifically, especially for this day, I went to Komoda Coffee. I looped there. So I got out in the sunshine, in the wind in my hair, and I got coffee and I got a sandwich and I wrote out all of my plans for this fast and everything that I'm hoping to achieve. That is my recommendation when you're prepping. If you are feeling like all this other prep and stuff is just too much, don't make it too difficult. This is honestly the most realistic for people. A lot of us want to have a good last day before we start fasting, and that's okay. You don't have to be A+ all the time. Trust me. As long as you have the prep for your electrolytes and you're feeling good and you've got your list ready for you to go, that is all you need. So that is how I spent my day prepping. This is not always how it looks when I prep. Sometimes you just gotta remember, you gotta live your life too. You gotta just enjoy life and live it. Hopefully that was helpful. And let me know in the comments if you want to see a proper A+ prep routine that I typically do when I'm not just saying, whatever, I'm just gonna live my life and do whatever I want to do. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.